Okay, good morning everyone. So today we are going to start about Oracle networking session today. So Oracle networking, which is very important session. Okay, very important in the sense like without this Oracle networking session, we'll not be able to complete our database administration, not even go to the next level or next pinch of the database as well. So Oracle networking, which is a very basic and a strong foundation that I can say. So we have to understand how the Oracle network is working. Okay, we have to understand how this Oracle network is working and everything. So before that, I have given you I have given everyone a numbers for you people, right? So let's discuss about the numbers, and then we will continue. So I'll take a day-to-day life example, and then I'll start the session. So number one, can you please respond? Number one, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Number two, or number three, number four, 5, 6,
Yes, sir.
7,
Yes, sir.
8.
Yes, sir.
Okay, what about remaining people? I mean 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5.
I'm here to see. When I reply, you call window.
Okay, no problem. So anyways, like see, if you people did not respond, right, there might be a lot of issues. So I need that only to take as a practical example. Okay, to take as a practical example. So what I mean to say is so let me talk to any one of you people. Number one, can you please unmute? Number one,
Yes, sir.
are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you are in a different location, I am in a different location, we both are in a different location, right?
Yeah.
But we are able to talk to each other with the help of what? You are able to
Network.
network, yes. Okay, please mute yourself. Okay, so yeah, as I said, like everyone are in different locations, but we are able to talk to each other only with the help of network. So without network, there will not be a communication between you and me. There will not be a communication between you and me. Okay, next, number 4, number 5, can anyone unmute yourself? Number 5, 6, 7, anyone? Okay, so let me talk. No, let me talk to you. So you're able to hear me, right?
Yes, yes, 100%.
Oh, okay, you're able to hear me. So can you please tell me why are you able to hear me? With the help of what? You are in a different location. I'm not in your location. I'm in a different location. You are in a different location, but we both are able to talk to each other. How?
So we both are connected to the network.
We both are connected to the network, so that we are able to talk to each other. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. When I say hi, you're responding me hi as written. You're responding me back, right?
Yes.
Okay. Hi. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Yeah. So why did you respond? Can you please tell me why did you respond?
The moment I hear your voice, I'm responding.
Exactly. So what do you call yourself? I mean, you're able to hear my voice, right? Then only you're able to respond. If you don't hear my voice,
I don't respond.
so I keep asking you.
Okay.
One second. People, please mute yourself. Only for the person who I'm talking, please unmute. That's it. There will be a lot of background noise and disturbance. And it's a very strict rule for people who are actually connecting, with a lot of background noise. I will not talk to them. Please mute yourself. That's it. Okay. So yeah. So I said, like, I'm talking to you and you're responding to me, right? When I say hi, you're responding to me hi. When I say how are you doing, you're responding me I'm doing good. Okay, so it means whenever you hear my voice, you're immediately giving my response. For example,
Yes.
let me take an example. You are not available there. You are not available in this network. What is this network? This network is Zoom network. We are connected in a Zoom network, right? We're connected in a Zoom session, so that everyone are connecting to the Zoom session, so that we all are communicating with each other with the help of network, with the help of some XYZ network, and we are actually getting connected in one page. We are all in the one page, right? So
Yes.
so my point is, for example, if you're not available, and I keep talking to you, hey, some XYZ person, are you there? Are you there? Are you there? I keep asking you, but you will not respond if you are not there. Yes,
Yes.
correct. So when you can respond to me, when I say hi, you keep responding to me, but only when you hear me, right?
Yes.
So what do we call you as?
So recipient.
Recipient. What does the recipient mean? In the other terminology, what does the recipient mean?
User, end user.
What does the end user mean? Or it's not about it's not end user or someone. It's not end user or someone. I'm see. For example, let's take a telephonic conversation, or anything is working with a network only, right? Without network, there will not be anything in this world. Okay, like I want to talk to you. I'm using some Vodafone or Idea network or something else. I called your number. Okay, if my network, if your network, for example, if your network is not working, will I be able to contact you?
No.
No, your network is working fine. For example, your network is working fine. The call got connected. And we both are talking to each other. So when
Yes.
when I talk to you, you are responding to me. Yes,
Yes.
because there is a network, there is a network established in between you and me, right?
Yes.
Correct. So in the same way, you might be in US, I might be in US, or you might be in different location, or anyone. I think one of our student is also there, whose name is Dingana. He is connected. He will be connecting from US, right? So he's in US. I am in India. Okay, and we both are also talking to each other. In a different location, only with the help of network. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Now, can anyone respond except those two people? Can anyone respond except those two people whom I have excluded, right? So, except those two people, can anyone respond? Uh, 1 second, please. As I told you, people who are who want to talk, they should not be background noise. They should not be background noise. Okay. So, can anyone respond to me?
Now, is that okay? Is there any
Yeah.
background?
No, nothing. Fine. So, can anyone respond to me? Like, who is the recipient side? I mean, what do we call them as? See, when I'll give you a hint also. So for people who don't know, I'll give you a hint so that you can actually give me the answer. Okay, I want you people to answer. So that is the reason I'm not telling the concept directly straightforward. I'm not going to the concept. I'm giving you a day-to-day life example, and then I'm actually coming into the concept so that you people understand very clearly. Okay. So when I say hi, you are responding to me back as hi. When I say how are you, you are telling me, you are responding me, I am doing good. So when you will be able to respond? Only when you people listen to me. When you
Yes.
people listen to me, you will be able to respond. So what do we call you as? Can any one of you people respond?
Receiver or
Another name.
Is it server, sir?
No, another name. See, I am in a different location. So let me talk to Pranav now. Can you please unmute?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'm in a different location. You're in a different location. I'm saying hi, and you're responding to me back. So when you are able to respond to me back, only when you listen to my voice. Yes. So when we both are connected to a network and you are able to listen to my voice, when you listen to me, then only you will be able to respond me back. So
Yes.
what do we call people who are listening to me? What do we call them as?
Audience.
No, I'm giving you the keyword. I have given you already the keyword. So can anyone give it right? People who listen to me, what do we call? Only when people listen to me, then only people will be able to respond to me. If people are not, yes, when people are not listening, or when people are not listening to me, then people will not be able to respond, right? So what do we call you people as? Listeners. You people are listeners. If you don't listen, for example, if people are not there, or nobody is connected to the network, but I keep asking, hey, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 8, number 9, 10, where are you people? Hi. I keep talking to whom? I keep talking, but you people are not responding, which means there is no listener available. If the listener is available only, then a proper communication will happen in between two parties. In between two parties, only the proper communication will happen. Only proper communication will happen only if there is a listener, a person who has to listen to me. If you are not able to listen to me, then I cannot, you cannot respond to me. Either I cannot, talk to you again. So it's a way of communication that we call it as network. So everyone on the same page. I want people to unmute and say, everyone on the same page.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now,
Yes.
number one, can you please unmute? Number
Yes,
one,
sir.
are you able to understand the concept?
Yes, sir.
Okay. See, that's what I'm telling you. You're able to respond to my questions only when you are able to respond to my questions, because you are able to listen to me. When I say, did you understand the concept? You said yes. When you are able to say yes, because you listen to me. When you listen to me, you are able to respond to me. If you don't listen to me, you are not able to respond to me. Till here, everyone clear? This is a
Yes, sir.
common,
Yes, sir.
this is basic common sense. So I'm talking in a common sense language so that everyone has to understand. So till here, everyone clear, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Now, why did so we call you as listeners. We call you as listeners. Okay. People who listen to me, people who listen to the training session are called listeners. So when I keep talking, but you people don't respond, then which means listener is not available, which means trainees or persons who are going to, who are taking the training, they are not available, so that you people are not responding to me, which means listeners are not available. Okay. So why I spoke this common sense language, as I told you, why I'm talking to you people in such a way that you people has to understand, because, and what is the relation of this topic to the database? There is a good relation to the topic of this database, because let me show you an example. Okay, let me show you an example. Okay, everyone are able to see my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. So let me tell you why I am talking to you people in this language. Okay. Now, yesterday we have seen users connecting to the database, right? Users connecting to this database. Yes, user is connecting to this database. There is a database called ICICI. There is a database called ICICI, and we have created. Who created the user? Who created user? DBA created the user, and user is talking to what? User is talking to database. When user is able to connect to the database. When user is able to connect to the database. How user is able to connect to the database? On user's machine. From user's machine, user is giving this statement. Okay, which statement? SQL plus ABC by ABC 123. ABC 123. If user is giving this statement, will user be able to connect to the database? No. User has to give for which database user has to talk. User has to talk. Which database user has to connect? User has to give the statement like this. So user is giving the statement. Okay, user is giving the statement SQL plus ABC by ABC 123 means ABC is the username, ABC 123 is the password @ICICI, for which database user want to connect. What happens to this statement? What happens to this statement? There are two things in Oracle networking. There are two things. What are those two things which you have to remember? What are those two things? Okay, the first one is listener. First one is listener. First one is listener. Second one is TNS. Okay. Second one is TNS. User is giving this statement. Right. So this statement is going like this to the database. This statement is going like this to the database. Now, I'm actually talking to you people, and you are responding because you are listener. You are able to respond to me because you are listener. When listener will respond, when listener is able to hear the voice, when listener is able to hear my voice, and when listener is able to understand the language, when listener is able to, hear, or when listener is able to listen to me and, able to understand the language, then there will be a response from the listener. In the same way, you are in a different location, I am in a different location, but we are talking to each other, right? So in the same way, this user is in a different location, this database is in a different location, but user and database is talking to each other, right? So what happens? I'm in a different location, I'm talking to you, you are responding to me. So user is in a different location, this database is in a different location, they are talking to each other, and the response is coming back, and the data is displayed on the screen. How means the same concept which I have spoke to you, the networking concept, that when I'm talking to you, you are responding because you are my listeners. The same way, when user is giving this connection from user's machine, when user is giving this connection from user's machine, what is this called? This is called TNS. This is called TNS. At the rate ICICI. User should have the TNS name. User should have the TNS name for which database user want to connect. So that user will give the connection like this: SQL plus username by password at the rate ICICI. What this connection will do? This connection will go to the listener of the database. In the database side, who will be there? In the database side, inside the database, who will be there in the database side? Listener. If the listener is not there, user will not be able to connect. Just like you are my listener, right? For example, I'm talking to number one. When I'm talking to number one responded to me. Number one responded to me back. Why? She's able to listen to me. And she's responding me back. In the same way, user connection will first go to the listener of the database. If the person who is able to listen, is not there. For example, this listener who has to listen to the connection, is not there in the database, which means listener is down. For example, listener is down or listener is not there, then the connection will not happen. User will not be able to connect to the database. User will not be able to connect to the database if the listener is not there. For example, if listener is there, but listener is down, means listener is sleeping. Listener is there in the database, but listener is sleeping. Still, this user will not be able to connect to the database because the connection is the connection is going to the listener, but listener is not listening to the connection. Listener is not listening to the user connection. First, not only one user, there will be some hundreds of users, right? So every user will try to connect to the database only. So when users are connecting to the database, once they are able to connect, then only once the user is able to connect to the database, then only user will be giving select, insert, update, delete, or whatever the user want to do, all the SQL statements. Only they can do if they are able to connect to the database. When they can connect to the database? Only when listener is available in the database. If the listener is not available in the database, or if the listener is sleeping, if the listener is available but listener is sleeping, which means listener is down, the user will not be able to connect to the database because this request has to be listened by the listener. Oh, okay, this user is requesting me to connect to the database, so let me connect this this request to the database. So first listener will listen to the request and then establish a connection to the database. Then once the connection is established, this ABC user will get this ABC user will get a message called connected to Oracle database 11.1.0. This user will get that message. Okay, for example, let me show you. INV, database name. Okay, so let me start the database first. Database is down because we have powered off the machine, right? Sys DBA. So as we were talking, like, yeah, this user is trying to connect to the database, but if only when listener is there, listener will listen to the request. Okay, ABC user is trying to connect to the database. Okay, fine. Is the username password correct? Yes, the username password is correct. And which database user wants to connect? User wants to connect to ICICI database. Is ICICI database available in the machine? Yes. So listener will check all these things. Okay, username is correct, password is correct, ICICI database is there. Okay, so let me connect this user fellow to the database, and then listener will connect to the database, and then user will get connection established. So this is the process. So directly how user is getting connected to the database is very important. Okay, what I said, when I'm talking to you, you people are not there. So when you people are not there, you will not respond to me, right? When the listener is not there, I will not get any response. So in the same way, when the listener is not there in the database, this user 100 times, 200 times, 1000 times, this user keeps giving the same statement: SQL plus ABC by password, ABC by password, ABC by password. This user will not get connection. If listener is not there in the database. Okay, now I'll prove this in a practical session. So what are the two things that for a networking concept, there should be two things. One, listener should be there on the database side. Where the listener should be there on the database side. And two, TNS should be there on the client side. Client side means user side. On user side, what should be there? TNS should be there. On the database side, what should be there? Listener should be there. This TNS and listener should talk to each other. What is this TNS? TNS means which database this username and password is trying to connect. That information will be stored in TNS. For which database this user wants to connect. SQL plus ABC by ABC123, username by password @TNS name. So in this TNS file, we will store the TNS entry of ICICI database. In this listener file, we will store the listener entry of ICICI. So this TNS of ICICI and listener of ICICI has to talk to each other. If the connection is gone, for example, connection is gone, listener is up, but the connection is not there. What do you mean by connection? External network is not there, then also there will be issues. But forget about external network and everything. We'll talk about the internal network only. So network is fine, but the listener is down. Okay. Okay, so the listener is actually fine. Listener is working fine. Then user will be able to connect. So if the listener is down, so the network is down. Listener is down. User will not be able to connect. Simple. So what is this TNS entry? TNS entry contains the information of the database. For which database this user has to connect. That information will be stored in the TNS, and user will be connecting with the help of @TNS name. And so once the listener is able to accept the incoming connection, listener has to accept the incoming connection. Once listener accepts the incoming connection, the connection will be connected to the database, and user can continue day-to-day operations like select, insert, update, delete, or whatever, once the connection is established. So for example, let's see. Now what we do, this is a database session. I'll show you, I'll prove that in the practical session. Without listener, user connection will not happen. I'll prove that in the practical session. Okay. So as I said, like this, take this as a user session, take this as a DBA session. DBA. You can take this as a DBA session. So show user sys and take this as a user session. So what should be there? What should be there in the database side? I told you what should be there in the database side. Listener. We have to configure listener on the database side as a first part. So where we configure listener, we have to go to Oracle Home Network Admin. Listen carefully. Oracle Home Network Admin user1/app/oracle/product/11.1.0 db_1 network admin. VI. What is the file name? VI listener.ora. listener listener.ora. Go to insert mode, and whatever the file that I'm giving you, what is the file? I did not open the file, I believe so. Okay. So whatever the file that I give you, just copy paste these things. This is the listener configuration file. You don't have to type it. If you type it also, that's okay. But there will be a lot of spelling mistakes or space issues, space related issues, and there will be a lot of things. So instead of that, what you do, you just simply, you just one second. Simply copy paste. Simply copy paste. Okay. From here you have to copy paste. Okay, from here to here, simply copy and paste it here. Paste it here. Okay. Go to insert mode. What did I do? I went to CD Oracle Home user1 app Oracle product 11.1.0 db_1 network admin. Where I'm doing, and I have opened a file called vi listener.ora, and I have opened a file called vi listener.ora. Okay. And I'm going to the insert mode. I have already in the insert mode. So what I'm doing, I'm just pasting this. That's it. I'm just pasting this. Okay. And what is there inside? What is there here? Here you can see clearly what is the Oracle Home. Oracle Home is user1 app Oracle product 11.1.0 db_1. Okay. And I have registered my database. Okay. I have registered my database with user1 app Oracle product 11.1.0 db_1. Okay. And the name is ICICI database. I am registering this ICICI database in the listener. And what is the server IP address? The server IP address is 192.168.1.101, and this is a default port. Port number is 51. This is a default port for any listener. This is a default port. This is an interview question. What is the port number your listener is using? Say default port number 1521. Even if you don't give the port number, it will automatically take 1521 only. Okay. So just save this file, or else, if people are getting confused, so what I can do, I can, wait. I go to insert mode. This file is actually this listener.ora. This file is still empty. Okay. I'll take it from the Word document. That will be better. Yeah. So copy from here, okay, from SID underscore list underscore listener. So copy from there till here. Okay. Just go to insert mode and do a right click. That's it. It is copied. Just save it. Escape : WQ. Everything is clear, right? So you can see Oracle Home is registered. Oracle Home for ICICI database is registered. IP address is correct. 192.168.1.101. Okay. And 1521 is a port number. That's okay. Then you can save the file. Escape : WQ. Save. Listener file is ready. Where? In the database side. Listener file is ready. We have configured the listener. But what do we have to do now? Configuration is completed, but we have to start the listener. How to start the listener? LSNR CTL, listener control, LSNR CTL start. So listener started. and it is started. Database is registered in the listener. ICICI database. Now ICICI database is having a listener. Okay. Now ICICI database is having a listener, right? So ICICI database is ready to accept the incoming connections. ICICI database is ready to accept incoming connections. Okay. So listener is completed from the database side. Now what? Now as I said, like to start the listener, what is the command? To start the listener, lsnrctl start, right? To start the listener, lsnrctl start. To stop, lsnrctl stop. Simple. To start, lsnrctl start, or to check the status, lsnrctl status. Listener is down. Status, listener is down. So we have to start the listener, lsnrctl start. So listener is started now. Simple. So 3 commands in listeners. 1, configuration. You have to configure the listener in listener.ora. Where you have to configure? In this location. Oracle home. Till here it is Oracle home. User 1 app Oracle product 11.1.0 DB underscore. Oracle home network admin. Open. What you have to do? You have to open a file called listener.ora and copy. Go to insert mode, paste. And if your IP address is different for the server, just change the IP address. If your database name is different, just change the database name. Now, for example, in this server, we have another database also, right? MX. So how to register one more database in the listener? From here till here, just copy from here to here. Okay, go to insert mode, hit enter, right click. Okay, is the Oracle home correct? Yes, Oracle home is 11.1.0 only. So what you do now, change this to MX. Change this to MX. Okay, now ICICI is registered in listener. MX is also registered in listener. Save it. Now, once you change, if you say lsnrctl status, once you add one more, you have added one more database, right? When you say status, it will show only one database. It will not show the second database registration. You have to restart the listener. Then only it will be getting affected. lsnrctl reload. It will be reloaded. Yes. Now, if you check the status, 2 databases are registered. ICICI is registered, MX is registered. Which means what is the purpose? Now, ICICI database can accept the incoming connections. So database might be in US. Database is in US. Users are in some other location in India. They are able to connect remotely. So this ICICI database is ready to accept the remote connections. MX database is ready to accept the remote connections. So both having the listeners now. Okay, listener is ready. So what did we do now? We have configured the listener and we have started the listener. So on database side, this part is completed. Listener is ready and listener is started. We have configured and started the listener. Now, user side, what user has to do? User has to keep the TNS entry. User side. Okay. User has to go to Oracle home network admin. Open TNS names.ora. And go to insert mode. Okay. And give the TNS name. And give the TNS name. Right. So what is this TNS contents of? This is the TNS name. What is this TNS name contains? This TNS name contains IP address of the server, port number of the server, and which database the user has to connect. If user is trying to connect @ICICI, what does it mean? User is trying to connect @ICICI means everything will be read. What is the IP address of the server? What is the port number of the server? And what is the database that user is trying to connect? So once it is reading everything, then only the connection will happen. Okay, to save this. And how to check whether the TNS is working fine or not? TNS is working fine or not? How to check? TNS ping. Just ping it. TNS ping ICICI. It is pinging in 0 seconds, which means connection will be established within 0 milliseconds. Connection will establish like this in a second. In a second, the connection will be established. Okay, TNS is pinging very fast. Okay, in the same way, if some other database, if we have to give some other database and some other user has to connect to some other database, just simply copy paste. Copy paste, go to insert mode, do a right click and change the database name. Register one more with MX. Service name as MX. Save it. See if you are able to ping MX. Yes, I'm able to ping MX. So which means this user is in some other location, this database is in some other location, but user will be able to connect to the database with the help of TNS. If TNS is there in the database side, in the user side, if user is having the TNS name, will user be able to connect? Yes, but listener should be up. If the listener is down, the user connection will not reach to the listener, because someone has to listen to the request. I keep on talking. If you people are not listening to me, will you able to understand the concept? No, you will not understand the concept if you people are not, if you are not listening to me. In the same way, user keep on trying the connection with TNS name. How user will be able to connect? See, this is how user has to connect. SQL plus ABC by ABC123 @ICICI. This is what the connection request is. So only once user is able to connect to the database, only when user is able to connect to the database, then only user will perform all the SQL operations which I have explained you in yesterday's session, like creating a table, inserting the data into the table, deleting or updating the values, altering the table, drop, truncate, anything. Only user can do this, perform these operations only when user is connected to the database, right? So when user will be able to connect to the database, user will be connected to the database with the help of username and password and @TNS name, right? Correct. When you click enter, see the connection is established. Connected. User is able to connect to the database. You can see show user. So what happened is this connection request, SQL plus username by password, this connection request went to the listener of the database. Listener is up, and listener is able to receive the incoming connection. Listener is able to receive the incoming connection, which means listener is able to listen to the incoming connection, and connection established with the database. Now user can do anything. For example, if listener is down. Now the case, as I told you, I will prove that, right? For example, if the listener is down, means nobody is there in the database to receive the incoming connections. Nobody is there. No one is there in the database. No listener, no person who actually has to listen to the connections, right? So nobody is there to take these incoming connections. There are a lot of connections coming to the database. There are a lot of connections. ABC user is connecting, XYZ user, PQR user. Some hundreds of users are getting connected to the database. But listener is down. Nobody is there to listen to these connections. What happens? User will not be able to connect to the database. There should be listener in the database to listen to these incoming connections, to listen to the user's incoming connections. So let us prove that. That will prove now. So LSNR-CTL, I'm stopping the listener. LSNR-CTL, stop. I'll exit from here. LSNR-CTL, stop. So I'm stopping the listener. So there will be no one in this server. There will be no one in this server. So I have stopped the listener. There will be no one in this server to accept the incoming connections. So see what error will come. So it says for user user is trying to connect with the same command, right? SQL plus ABC by ABC 123. Okay, ABC username by password @ICSA. User is clearly getting a message, no listener. So user will get this message, no listener. Then what user will do? User will simply copy paste the error. Users don't have, I mean, sorry to say this, will not put, most, because that is not their job. I know, I understand. Users means developers. They don't even put their, things, what is happening, what is wrong with anything, or they won't cross check anything. They'll simply copy paste the error. They'll simply copy paste the error because this error is related to the database error. This error is related to the database error. They're not able to connect to the server. They're not able to connect to the database. So they'll simply copy this error. They'll simply paste the error and they will create a ticket to the database team, or they will email database team. Hey DBA team, I'm getting this error. I'm not able to connect to the database. This is the database name. This is the username password. I'm trying to connect to this database, but I'm getting the error. They will email the DBA team. Can you please check and resolve the issue? Is what they will ask the DBA team to look into it. So this is the error. This error will come to DBA, and DBA, when looking this error, DBA will clearly know TNS no listener means on the database side listener is down. So DBA will clearly know that, and DBA first will check the status. Yes, there is no listener. Immediately start. Listener is started. Now what we will do? DBA will reply back. DBA will reply back to the user. Hey user, I have fixed the issue. I have fixed the issue on the database side. On the database side, the listener was down. I have fixed the issue, and the listener is up and running now. You can check your connection now. Now listener will check the connection. The user will check the connection. Yes, user is able to connect to the database. Fine. So listener is up. So it is proved, right? When the listener is down, user will get no listener. Then user will contact DBA team. DBA has to start the listener on the database side. For example, if there is a problem with TNS, see, networking means two things. I told you, networking means two things. One, listener on the database side. Two, TNS on the user side. If TNS is having a problem, still user will not be able to connect. What is the problem? What kind of a problem can be there in the TNS? For example, when listener is typing, when user is typing this ICICI and everything, these lines, when user is typing these lines, for example, where is the ICICI database is in which server? It is in 101. It is in 101. ICICI database is in 101, but mistakenly user has typed 102. But ICICI database is in 101 server only, because our server Mumbai DC server IP address is 192.168.1.1.1. So in that server only ICICI database is there. But mistakenly, not wantedly, but mistakenly, he has typed 102. Who? User, not DBA. This is in the user side. Okay, saved it. And now trying to connect. It will not be able to connect. It will not be able to connect. It will not be able to connect. TNS invalid or TNS is invalid. TNS is invalid. Why? Because this user connection, where it is going, this user connection has to go to the listener of 192.168.1.1.1. This user connection has to go to this user connection request. This user connection request has to go to which listener? Listener of 192.168.1.1.1. But this user connection is going, this request is going where? This request is going to 192.168.1.1.2. 102 server is not there. 102 server itself is not there. How user will be able to connect? Still, even if it is the user issue also, user will copy paste the error. User has no work. User has only this work. Copy paste, send it to DBA. It might be any error in the database. It might be a very simple error. It might be very tough error. Nothing. User will not do anything. User will not try to troubleshoot also. Simple copy paste. Give this error message, because this is ORA error. ORA error, where it will come? ORA error will come from database only. Everyone knows that. So what? Simply copy paste the error and send it to DBS. Hey, DBA team, I am trying to connect to the database. The database is not able to connect. I am not able to connect. I am getting this error. Please solve. Then what DBA has to do? DBA will check the error. Okay, this time it is TNS error. It is not a listener error. Listener is up, but TNS is not correct. TNS is invalid. So we have to ask the users. Hey user, send me the TNS name. Send me the TNS name, or send me the connection string. That's called connection string in the real time. In the real time, we call it as connection string. It says TNS is invalid. So actually, we have to tell them TNS is invalid, which means there is no issue from the database side. There is no issue from the database side. There is an issue from your side only. You have to check your TNS. Can you please send me your TNS? I'll correct you. Actually, the issue is with user only, but still DBA has to correct, because user will not do anything. User will simply copy paste and ask the DBA team. Any issue, contact DBA team. That is their job. Okay. So what we have to do, we have to take the TNS name. Hey user, can you please send your TNS entry? Then what user will do? What user will do? One second. What user will do? User will open the TNS name and user will copy paste the TNS name and send it to DBA team. Now DBA team has to review this TNS name, and we have to check where is the mistake in this TNS. So DBA team found that the mistake is with 101. It should be 101. It should not be 102, because database is in 101, not 102. We will tell the user, hey user, can you please change it to 101? User changed. Now user can try. It will work. It will work. So even if TNS entry is wrong, user will not be able to connect. For example, user is typing a mistake here. Instead of ICICI database, user has typed ICIC as a service name. It should be ICICI, but user has typed ICIC. Okay, now user will get some other different error. It says TNS listener do not know current service. What does this means? This means IP address is correct, everything is correct. Now it is the connection is going to listener also. The connection is going to, what is this error? The connection, whatever the connection user is giving, listener is able to listen to the connection, but listener is not able to connect to the database. Which database? Listener is not able to connect to the database, and listener is not able to know which database to connect, because this user is trying to connect to ICIC, but listener is not able to connect to ICIC, because ICIC database is not there. ICICI database is there. ICIC database is not there in the database side. So listener is able to listen to the connection, but listener is not able to know the service name and service name where to connect. So that is this error. Again, user will copy paste the error. User has no work. User has simply copy paste. Instead of copy pasting, user can check, hey, this error is not the database error. This is something related to the TNS error. I can check what is the issue in the TNS. User can check, right? No. User will simply copy paste the error and send it to DBA team. And again, what DBA team has to do? Okay, there is some issue in the TNS. Can you please send the TNS file? User will send the TNS file, and we have to tell that the issue is with ICICI. It is not ICIC. The service name is ICICI. User has changed the service name. Now user will try to connect. Now user is able to connect. And after connecting, user will do all select, insert. Without connecting to the database, user cannot do all these things, right? Select, update, insert. So user will not be able to do select star from EMB. Done. So only when user connects to the database, only user will be able to perform the day-to-day business activities. How user will be able to connect? Only when listener is there. If the listener is not there, for example, I'm talking to you, if you people are not there, it's waste of class. It's a waste of the session. For whom I'm talking, for whom I'm telling, for you people. If you people are not there, with whom I have to talk? Simple. If listener is not there, how? If listener is not there, if I'm talking to you and you are my listeners, if listener is not there, you people will not respond to me when I ask you a question. You people will not respond to me. You are in a different location. I am in a different location. We both are connected with the help of network. So if the network is not there, we will not be able to talk to each other. In the same way, this user machine is in different location. This database server is in different location. User is trying to connect to the database, and with the help of username and password at the TNS name, and this connection is going to the listener. If listener is not able to accept the incoming connection, if listener is not listening to the connection will not establish. Only if the listener is up and listener is ready to accept the incoming connections, then only user will be able to connect to the database. How is the class, guys? Able to understand clearly?
Yes, sir.
Yes, for sure.
Yes, sir.
Able to, okay, only two responses. So remaining people are sleeping in the class. I
Yes,
believe.
sir.
Okay, what about other people?
I
Yes,
can
sir, ma'am.
understand, sir.
Okay, that's okay, fine. That's it. You people have to do the listener configuration and yeah. One second, wait. So you people has to do the listener configuration and TNS configuration as well. Okay, and you have to complete this practical session. And now I have a question for you people. Anyone can respond except people who already completed this session. So or else I'll ask according to the order. So number one, can you please unmute?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Now, okay, please mute yourself. There is a background noise. Please mute yourself. Please mute. Fine. Let me talk to this person, Balraj. Okay, can you please unmute? Can you please unmute, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Now user is able to connect to the database, right? Are you able to
Yes.
see? Okay,
Yes,
why user is able to connect? Because listener has accepted the incoming connection. Yes.
Yes, sir.
So only when listener is accepted the incoming connection, then only user is connected to the database and user is performing day-to-day operations. Yes.
Yes.
Now suddenly listener is down. Wait. The question is not complete. LSN or CTL stop. Okay. Suddenly listener is down. I did not even stop now. Suddenly listener is down. What happens to this user connection?
User will get an error that he couldn't able to connect to that listener.
Okay. Your chance is done. Good. Nice answer. Your chance is completed. Well, let's give chance to the next people. Next, number one. Can you please unmute without any background noise, please? One. Can you please unmute number one? So did you understand my question, Pranav? I mean, see, what I'm talking is listener is up. So user, when listener is up, user has given this incoming connection. This incoming connection is accepted by the listener, and user is now able to connect to the database and doing all select, insert, update, delete, and everything once user is connected. Once user is connected to the database. Now suddenly listener is down. What happens to this connection?
There won't be any commands that would be sent from the TNS side to the listener side because the listener is completely down. Because even if the TNS person is able to send the commands to them, as the listener is completely down, there won't be any commands that would be received by the listener's end.
Okay, fine. That's your answer. Fine. Satish, can you please unmute? Satish. Okay, fine. Okay, let me tell the answer for you people. Okay, and let me tell you the answer. I've stopped the listener now. You can see. What is my point is, my point of making you people understand is, it's very simple. What is my point of making you people understand here? The point is this user connection is talking to the listener. Listener is talking, this user connection is talking to the listener. So listener is able to talk and listener is able to respond. Listener is able to respond back. Okay. When listener will be able to respond? When listener is up. When listener is up. Okay. When listener is up, listener will be able to respond, right? Okay. Listener is responding to the user. Listener is up. This connection, the incoming connection is accepted by the listener and connected to the database and responded back to the user saying connected to the database, connected to the database. So response is okay. Response is okay. What user is doing? User is requesting the listener. User is calling the listener. I can say I'm calling you people and you people are responding me, right? So user is calling the listener. Listener is able to listen to the user and listener is responding with the message called connected. So listener is accepting the incoming connections and users are getting connected to the database. So this ABC user has already connected to the database. Once the connection is established, the listener is down. Once the connection is established, the listener is down. What happens to this user connection, which is already established? The connection is already established. What happens to this user connection? If the listener is down, once the connection is established, that is my question. Once the connection is established, if the listener is down, what happens to this user connection, which is already established? The answer is nothing will happen. Nothing will happen. User still will be able to continue the day-to-day activities. Nothing will happen. See, user is still able to select. User will be still able to insert also. You can see insert into EMP values. Okay, 4, DDD, 40. So user is able to insert one row created. What happened to the user connection? Nothing is happened. Then who will face the issue? The new connections from new machines, some other users will also connect, right? The new connections will have a problem. So what is the job? Till when? Till what time we need a listener? Till the connection established only. Once the connection is established, if the listener is down, we don't care. Even if the listener is down, we don't care. I mean, we in the sense as a DBA, we should care, but users will not care. Users has to get a message called connected to database. That's it. Users has to receive this message, connected to Oracle database. Once users receive this message, even the listener is down, user connection will keep on continue. The connected users, I'm talking about the connected users. Then who will face the problem? The new user connections will have a problem, because for new user connections, the person who has to listen to the connection is not there in the database. That is listener. Listener is not there in the database. Answered everyone's question?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Trisham.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So as I said, so these are the two components. These are the two components in the networking part. One component is TNS in the client side. Second component is listener in the database side. If these two are talking to each other, the connection will establish. If they both are not talking to each other, the connection will not establish. Both should have response. The response should come from listener and TNS. Right? So this is what the session is. Hope everyone understood the session. Everyone, right? You people understood
Yes,
the
sir.
session?
Yes, Trisham.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Fine. Thank you, people. Have a great day, and we will meet in the tomorrow session. I'll give you this documentation part and the recording part. You can actually complete your listener and TNS practical session. Whoever completed the database creations. If people who did not complete the database creations, please do start creating the databases. Okay, and start working on the database creation part. Okay, we'll meet tomorrow sharp, same time. Thank you everyone for joining the session. Have a great day.
Thank you, sir. You too.
Not